You're not supposed to know everything. You're meant to go in with a mindset that you're excited to learn. Every day is different. So you go in and there's a new bug to try and get to the bottom of. And it's really exciting just to try and work out those problems. With the opportunities coming up with our apprenticeship finishing, there's just so much to be able to get involved in. Teamworks, we're encouraged if we want to go and cross products, we have that opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to not being tied down by uni, but being able to explore and find.
Welcome to Workplus, the podcast that shines a light on the people doing good work across Northern Ireland. I'm your host, Richard Kirk, founder of Workplus. I've spent years working with employers, schools, colleges and universities, helping young people and career changers to make better informed career decisions. Each week, I sit down with real people doing real jobs to explore how they got there, what they've learned, and why their work matters. If you're a parent, teacher, carer, or just curious about what good work looks like today, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Louisa, Olivia, it is so good to have you with us today. I'm just really interested to know, as we start off, just how did you first get interested in software as a career? Maybe Olivia, I'll ask you first.
I think from the beginning, our parents were very much look for a job in IT right from when we started school, and that encouraged us to really go and pick up different extracurricular activities at school that was in that general area. So right from the beginning, we were able to get involved in a competition with another two girls where we had to design an app, and the result of that was us being taken to San Francisco, Silicon Valley to visit lots of different tech companies, and that really inspired us from the beginning. So from that point, we chose subjects from GCSE A-level that would let us to go down into that route. And our teachers were always very encouraging to help us find different opportunities for after school.
Brilliant. And your parents were really encouraging you down that route. Louisa, are they in IT themselves, or how did they know? They're
not in IT, but I think they've just seen how interesting and exciting the sector is, and they thought this is a really interesting way to build your career. And they never put any pressure, but they give us quite a supportive environment to go after that.
Great. And were there lots of others following that sort of pathway when you were at school, or were you quite, were you out there in terms of people who are really focused on IT?
We were fortunate that we had quite close relationships with our teachers in school. So although there wasn't many of us going for that pathway, it meant that teachers were interested in us and really wanted to see us do well. So when we said that uni wasn't the route for us initially, they helped us to find an alternative route. And our physics teacher in particular recommended Workplus to help us get started. But now, once we go back to school, you can see more and more people taking up apprenticeships.
Great.
So we were catching up with our A-level teacher, and he was just saying how the number of students that are now taking SSD at A-level has just boomed. So it's really exciting.
Is that software systems development?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what one of the ones that you chose for A-level.
Yeah.
There's a lot said about that being a difficult A-level. Do you think there's that perception out there, or is it difficult?
I think it's brand new. If you haven't coded before, it's definitely brand new. But so it starts off as maybe a little bit more challenging, but it definitely comes to the point where if you keep at it, it does click. Yeah. And I think a lot of people say the same thing about software engineering, that it can seem really confusing at first, but if you keep at it, you definitely get there. And there's so many rewards for doing it. I think it's not... It might have a perception of being difficult, but it definitely shouldn't stop you from going into it just because of that.
Yeah, you've talked about rewards, but what are some of those things? Even whenever you were at school doing SSD A-level, or even what are some of those rewards that you get?
I would say it's a really satisfactory area to be in. Yeah. Every day is different. So you go in and there's a new problem to solve, or there's a new bug to try and get to the bottom of. And it's really exciting just to try and work out those problems. And once you do get to the bottom of it, even though it can be a little bit difficult at times, the satisfaction that comes from that, there's nothing quite like it.
And are you working by yourself? You can't maybe have this perception that people who are in software are maybe on their own with their laptop, maybe in a darkened room. They might have a hoodie up or whatever. But is that the reality?
Well, for me, although I do work remotely most of the time, we have the option to come in to the office and schedule meetings. Maybe we'll message and let everyone know we'll be in this day, and some people arrange their schedules to be in. And when it comes to new feature work or working through bugs, we've been able to take part in different like brainstorming sessions and really collaborate, think creatively, and those opportunities are really upbuilding and encouraging, and you get to improve like your communication skills and really build relationships with the people that you work with.
Okay, so it's a real team sport, I suppose, is it? Then?
Everyone has so many different skills and they've come from different pathways, so we all kind of work off each other and bounce ideas off. And being an apprentice especially, we ask a lot of questions. So there's always people free to jump on a call and take you through or re-explain something that's a new idea or new concept.
Yeah. You talked about asking questions there. Have you always felt confident to ask those questions even when you were back at school? To tell us a bit about that, or have you ever felt shy about those sorts of things?
I think going into an apprenticeship, one thing that was personally a little bit scary for me is that I definitely didn't know very much at all, and I was worried that would I go in and would I be totally out of my depth. But from the beginning, it's been encouraged that you're not supposed to know everything. You're meant to go in with a mindset that you're excited to learn. So everyone is constantly encouraging you to ask questions when you don't understand, and we're ready to help you. And yeah, it's been really exciting to learn those things.
That's great.
I know for me, asking questions was something that I always did, maybe to the annoyance of some of my teachers, to be honest. But when we first started, like Louisa was saying, we were always encouraged to ask questions. The environment's always been so supportive. Our managers are free to jump on a call and make themselves available if they need to walk through code, do a bit of pairing with you, or even like recommending new resources that you can go and do your own research.
Okay, great. And so whenever you made that decision, you said your physics teacher was really helpful, encouraging you, your parents were encouraging you as well. What did your friends think? Were they all going down the apprenticeship route as well, or were they just thinking, what are you doing? The
apprenticeship route was pretty novel, I would say, for our school in general. So you would go into upper sixth and careers, and apprenticeships weren't really talked about. It was only the uni route. And for me and Olivia, we definitely didn't want to go into full-time uni. So once our teachers were made aware of this, they helped us with finding things, but especially when it came to like the interview processes or application forms, it was a bit of trial and error, trying to work out how to do it, to do the research on our own. So when our teacher suggested Workplus, that really helped. And it almost encouraged some of our friends when they saw that we were so ready to do an apprenticeship instead of going to university. Some of them applied for apprenticeships, and even the ones in the year below. There's two that we would stay in touch with in particular, and they're both doing apprenticeships as well.
That's good. So there's been a real increase in that way of doing things. Has it been difficult being an apprentice, working and learning at the same time?
We're encouraged to communicate openly if we find that we're under pressure, or maybe we've got too much uni work on and need a bit of extra support. Mm-hmm. So although, yes, you do need to balance work life, uni life, and also having that time outside of that to relax, the support is there, and all you need to do is say when you need a bit of an extra hand.
Great.
Definitely requires a little bit of organisation though, to try and prep, make sure that you're starting coursework well in advance, and that even just making your managers aware of the deadlines that you have so they know when you need support is really helpful.
In terms of the course, you mentioned you did software systems development, and the course that you've been doing at Ulster University, isn't that right? How has that supported you in your job then day to day?
I would almost say that my job has helped me with uni.
Okay,
I've learned so much through work that when it comes into uni, when we're starting coding or learning different languages, those principles that you gain in work really help with the uni modules.
Yeah.
Though this year in particular, for our final year, some of the modules that we have picked up, if there were small things that you weren't quite grasping at work because you're learning the theory behind it, it does gel quite well and helps cement that learning. So even though we both found that you learn a lot from doing it, at the experience from work, having uni there and the research and materials that it gives you a bit of a backup if there is something that you need to go and take a bit more time over to understand it fully.
Yeah. So whenever we started working with, it was Kairos at the time, now it's Teamworks. Daniel Hendry was really keen on this pathway. He was self-taught to come into the industry as well. So I don't think he even went to university and did software computing. So how have you seen, you mentioned about the supportive culture, but how has that helped you to thrive in your apprenticeship, do you think?
Straight from the beginning, the focus was put on the experience and learning from doing things. So when it came to, we didn't have that same uni pressure that you might have done if that was your only route where you were solely focused on uni. But having the different focus of being able to learn through doing, you're really able to put your time and take extra time to figure out why things aren't working, to do your own research. And we are given the time to do that. It's not all, there isn't a pressure on deadlines as such. If it does take us a bit longer to learn something, then we're given the space to do that. And it means that in the future, then we can do our jobs better.
Great.
Our very first project, we were given just a wide open brief that we were given a tech stack to use, but we were told to go off, find a new idea that you're excited about, and then build a web app that would meet that. And it was daunting at first because we'd never done something like that. But right through the whole, we were doing workshops with our managers to gradually guide us along until we demoed it to our teammates. And it was really, really good. It was really satisfying at the end to know that you started from the beginning and then look where you've come.
So good to hear. And again, whenever I was chatting to Daniel about Teamworks coming and buying Kairos, and you're obviously you're part of that, your expertise. I think that the folks from the US that came over couldn't quite get their head around the fact that you had come straight from school at the age of 18, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And straight in and adding value from day one. And there's often a conversation about how long does it take for an apprentice to add value to a business. I remember talking to Daniel or Andrew or Gareth and just saying it was from day one. He brought fresh ideas and perspectives. So that's real encouragement. You know, it really is great to see that coming through. And
from day one, you do feel valued and that your opinions are respected. And yeah, it's definitely a really collaborative environment.
So tell us a bit about Teamworks, and so what are you actually using? Your teamwork, your listening skills, communication, your coding skills. What are you actually doing with that then on a day-to-day basis?
So day-to-day, it could look like doing new feature work, bug fixes. When it comes to new feature work, we might come into the office, discuss new ideas, or do some pair programming with each other. I mean, at the minute, we're on the same project, so it's quite nice working from home with each other and then getting Amy on, the other apprentice, on the call so we can really talk about new ideas and work through problems together. And then as well, we also been able to do group projects at uni. All of those skills, presentation skills, come in handy when it comes to those kind of assignments as well.
Yeah, that's good. And so what is Teamworks actually doing then for, like, what's the software all about? What's the ultimate goal of it all?
So we offer lots of different products to elite sports teams, and the ones that I've personally worked on, I've worked on a scheduling product that allows them to manage operations, and I've worked on our academics product for college students for managing their college courses alongside a scholarship or for their sports scholarship, which was really interesting. And at the minute, we're working on an inventory management project.
So you mentioned the word operations there. So people maybe think operations, they think of a hospital and things like that. So what does that actually look like? And so tell us one of the teams that you work with. Are you able to talk about that, or are they're professional sports teams across the world, essentially? Yeah. Rugby teams, NFL.
Yeah, we would have football, like Premier League teams.
Premier League teams. Okay. So what are you doing with a Premier League team then? How are you helping them to organise themselves?
If they're using our hub product, then they can use it to schedule training sessions, meetings. They can also use our digital displays, which is a product team that I've been on. So from their different scheduling of meetings, menus, nutrition, they can then put that on to screens across their training grounds.
Okay.
To let all the players see what's coming up and what's going to be completed throughout that day or the next 3 days in that week.
Okay. So you're helping to organise these teams. Yeah. So the ultimate purpose is that they then focus on being athletes?
Yes,
Is
exactly,
that, okay.
exactly. I think the example always comes back to using a WhatsApp group. When we were in Kairos, that was always used, that maybe someone would post in when training session was, but this person can't make it, but they can. And suddenly a WhatsApp group's filled with messages and you can't organise.
Yeah,
and
we've all been there.
Yeah. So Hub in particular helps to cut down on the confusion and make that process more efficient.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So do you feel a real sense of purpose in your work? Like, do you feel like you're making a difference?
Yeah, I do. I like seeing being in the product channels where you can see how our products are being used and seeing how that's actually impacting a player's performance and the organisation of that team is really satisfying, to know that you've had a small part in helping them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Last year when I was on the academics product, I would be doing bug fixes. So seeing like people type in their actual issues and then be able to fix that and send it out, and knowing that people were really happy with the work that you've done, you got a real sense of achievement from that.
So when you say bug fixes, for people who aren't technical, those are just, how would you do it? What's that?
When something that should happen isn't, that needs corrected.
Okay, so software isn't perfect. It's always like iterative, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whatever you do, it's never going to be perfect, and there's always improvements that you can make. So yeah, exactly.
But you enjoy the helping people through that. That's fantastic. That's good. And whenever you came into Kairos, as it was it a big team that you came into, or was it relatively?
It was very small.
Okay.
There was maybe about 25 of us,
okay.
25, 30, around there. So to go into a small company right away, you had a bigger impact than like a small pigeonhole role, if you know what I mean. So to go straight into a smaller company, you really did feel like your opinions were being heard, because you were speaking to the CFO and the CTO straight from the beginning, because it was that really close-knit team.
Yeah.
But now we're with Teamworks. We've got over 350 employees, but that feel still hasn't really changed from the teams that we're in and the people that we work with. You still feel that your voice is heard and that the ideas that you have still make an impact in the products you're working on.
That's good to hear. So you talked about how software IT was something that your parents encouraged you and you were thinking about it. And there's such a demand for software engineers. So how do we encourage more people to get involved and follow in your footsteps, essentially?
I think it goes back to when we were at school, that university was pretty much the only route. But if there was more of a level playing field almost, where apprenticeships weren't the backup option. I remember some of the people that I was with, they were like, oh, I've applied for apprenticeships just in case uni doesn't work out. Okay. But really an apprenticeship is something that would really help. And yeah, I think if instead of it being a backup option, if it was talked about more on that same level, it would be beneficial.
Yeah.
I think as well, when it came to the application process, although there was some support at school, we did have to do a lot of preparation, additional research ourselves when it came to applying for apprenticeships. So it would be good if there was more of help from school from the application process, not just, why don't you have a look at, you could work through this company, apply there, or use Workplus, but here's some prep and how you can do your group exercises, your interviews, or even just the written application itself.
Yeah, there's definitely more that could be done there, I think, around that. Yeah, I agree with that. And whenever we look at some of the numbers around software apprentices, they're about 24% are female. Do you think there's a misconception out there with women that software isn't for them?
When you go into your A-level classes and uni classes, you can definitely feel the difference between the numbers. And there probably is a misconception that because it's been encouraged mainly to men for so long, that it is only for men. But actually, women offer a different perspective in software. We all have different experiences. And I think over time, especially like with Olivia said about our last two hiring of apprentices have been fully female, I think it is changing slowly. Yeah. So just as more people and more women are given the opportunity to get into software, then that perception will hopefully change.
Yeah, that's good. And so you along with Amy, were the first batch of apprentices into, so another batch has come in behind you,
Yeah,
is that
just
right?
in
then?
September, another 3 girls.
Okay, great.
And then we also hired another woman who moved company, who's also an apprentice. So far, 100% female.
That's fantastic, because you need to get some men in there for some diversity.
I know.
It's great to see, though. It's great to see and great to hear the stories and the impact that you're making. You said, like, going back to your old school, have you had the chance to do that?
Last year we went back to talk to the year 13s about to start their A2 to talk about our experience in getting into software engineering apprenticeships, along with a few others who were from different STEM apprenticeships. So that was really good to be able to go back and really see where you were and then where you are now in your apprenticeship and how much that we have grown and developed as people as well, which was very nice.
Oh, that's great. That's good. So what would you say to parents and that are just on the borderline, that just like, oh, I just think this is such a risky option for my son or daughter? What would you say to that? Well,
there's so many opportunities out there at the minute to even just get a taste of what it'll be like. For example, companies offer work experience days. There's workshops with companies like Code Academy. You can do free online courses. So before you actually commit to something, you can get a feel for it straight from free courses. And then if it isn't for you, well, then you can just go try something else. But there's so much opportunity out there with tech apprenticeships that I'm sure you'll find something because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
We were applying probably just out of COVID. So all of our work experience was online. But now that you can really get into companies and talk in person, it does really give you a snapshot of what it might be like to work in the tech industry.
Yeah. How do you think AI is changing things, even in the last 3 years since you've done your apprenticeship?
I would say that it gives me support in my work. Okay, I don't use it a lot, but I definitely use it for tasks that speed up time, like generating dummy data, for example, that I can put in quickly. It definitely saves me time. But it's just interesting how I hope that it doesn't replace the training process for me and Olivia especially. We have come in from the ground and we have needed that help. So if AI replaced certain tasks that I would like to learn how to do that from the beginning, it was interesting to see how that'll work from an apprentice's point of view. Recently in work, actually, we were filling in surveys about our thoughts on AI and how it could be implemented in the workplace. And the result of that was reassurance that AI is there to help us to improve and to work more efficiently rather than to replace the work we do.
Okay, that's good. It's good to hear. There's been a lot kind of said about it. I suppose people are very optimistic, others pessimistic. And I've heard that point you've made, Louisa, a few times about what might it do to those entry-level opportunities. But it sounds like you're starting to think about that anyway and how it can improve things. What's the one thing you've learned about yourself since starting your apprenticeship?
I think for me, I like delving into what I'm working in and fully understanding it. So for me, I enjoy doing the research and finding out different ways that I can improve what I'm doing and then being satisfied by seeing that in action and working really well. I know from school, I always ask questions, but I think being in an apprenticeship, it's also emphasised how much I really do like to work with other people and hear from their opinions and experiences. So I do enjoy that aspect of work.
Great. What about you, Louisa? Is there one thing you could say that I've really surprised myself or I've really learned?
I think it goes back to how I felt going in, that I genuinely felt that I was maybe a bit inadequate for this role, that I hadn't had enough experience. But really what the past 3 years has taught me that if you do the work and you put it in, you do the research and ask for help, you can do it. And it is totally worth going into, that those apprehensions shouldn't hold you back.
So you're 3 years into your career now. It's amazing. You're finishing your apprenticeship this year.
Yes.
So you've been able to do like a fast track. You've done it in 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah. So with our course, you have the option of choosing a different number of modules each year, depending on your circumstances or what your company requires you to do. But we were given the flexibility to choose whatever suited us. So we both decided at the start in September that we would try and do 6 modules each year, which would mean we would finish in 3. And our last deadline is the middle of August.
Okay.
It's very exciting. It's a countdown now.
I know. You've got a busy summer ahead of you then.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years, have you had a summer break, or has it just been constant then in terms of uni work?
Normally we'd be in one day a week. For us it's a Monday, but when it comes to summer semester, instead of doing 1 day a week over 12 weeks, they condense it into 2 6-day blocks. So instead of working 9 to 5 in work, you'd go to uni for those days over the summer. And then you'd have your deadlines like middle of July, middle of August, instead of it being spread out.
Okay. And obviously Teamworks are really flexible around that. It sounds like they're really supportive.
Yeah, very much so. Even when we've had a little bit of extra work, we've been given space during work time as well that we've needed to try and complete coursework.
Great. And the next cohort of apprentices that have come in, have you found yourself being a year ahead of them or a year or 2 ahead of them, that they've really benefited from you? Have you been mentoring them?
We've been able to get on calls or scheduled days in the office where they are currently in the same position we were. They're using a slightly different tech stack than we did to build our first apps. Okay. But for the first while of their first bit of the year of their apprenticeship, they've also been asked to design and develop their apps using React and Ruby. So whenever they've come across areas that they've struggled with, we've been able to share our experience, help them to work through those issues and be able to move on and also learn the approach to find errors and to work through them. Yeah, re-explaining things again has been very beneficial for us as well, just to go through it again and make sure that it's fully understood in our minds as well. Yeah,
great. So you mentioned that you're remote. So what does a day look like for you, Olivia? Then what does it shape up to be?
So I wake up, I log on to my laptop between 9 and 10, and then depending on the tickets I've been assigned, I'll be on programming and take our lunch break. During the week, we also have a call that we have the opportunity to demo whatever work that we've produced that week, and we also get to see what other members of the athlete development team have also produced to understand what's going on in different departments as well, which is really interesting. You get a better insight into what's happening as a company rather than just the work that you're involved in. So each week we have that call and then a kickoff call on a Tuesday where just our engineering team will get on and share what they've been doing and the goals for the week. And again, if during the day that involves talking to other people in your team, you're not just alone sat at your desk. I mean, we work rooms across from each other, so there's collaboration there too.
That's quite unique. So collaboration, that's the superpower of Teamworks. That's great. So would you like to work in an office more, or are you happy with that rhythm of we're in uni 1 day a week, we come into the office sometimes, we're at home sometimes?
I think the flexibility is great. I really enjoy working from home, and I think we do have a bit of a different experience that at least there is someone else there that you can physically talk to every day. It might be different if you were on your own. You might want to come into the office more often, but for me personally, I really enjoy the setup that we have, just to have the flexibility to organise your day to make sure that you get work done. I would feel the same. I began my apprenticeship saying, I'm definitely going to be in the office once a week. And then that slowly changed to twice a month, once a month. So whenever it's nice having the option to come in when there's planned days, but the flexibility of working from home is just so amazing.
That's great. It's because, work is work. It's good, but you've got a life outside as well. It's good to hear you've got that balance going on. What are your hopes for the future? Then I know you're 3 years in. It's always a hard question for anyone to answer, but where do you see your career going?
I think with the opportunities coming up with our apprenticeship finishing, there's just so much to be able to get involved in. Particularly at Teamworks, we're encouraged if we want to go and cross products, explore new tech stacks, we have that opportunity. So I'm really looking forward to not being tied down by uni, but being able to explore and find areas that I really want to specialise in.
Great. What about you, Louisa? Have you any?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Once I'm looking to focusing on finishing my apprenticeship at the minute, but once that finishes, it just seems that the opportunities are boundless, really. With we have so many different tech stacks that you can go into, and Teamworks is so interested in you letting them know what you're interested in, and that they'll try to assign you in an area that you would really be excited to work in. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That's good. So if you could go back, however many years that is now, 6 or 7 years, to your 15-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give?
Probably say don't panic. I was a bit of a stressor. So I really say stop worrying. Just continue to work hard and do what you're doing, and it will work out. There's people to support you, and yeah. Obviously, you do need to work hard and plan. It's not like it will just come to you.
Yeah.
But if you keep going with those right steps, there's no need to panic like I did. Yeah, I agree with that. Just if being able to express when you need help is also a big one, rather than thinking that it's all on you, because there's people that want to support you and help you. And again, don't be worrying that when you're looking for an apprenticeship, they want a fully qualified software engineer, because the point of an apprenticeship is that you're going to learn and develop on the job, and they really want someone who is willing to learn and is just really interested in the subject and getting to know more.
Final question. We love thinking about work being something that's good, not just for us, but for the people that we serve, whether it's professional athletes or whoever it is. But if I was to ask you what's so good about work, what would you say?
I would say just that every day is different, especially in tech. I know I kind of said it earlier, but I find I really enjoy being given something that I am a wee bit out of my depth for, and having to do the research and going in and working out. And once you find the solution to that problem, it is really, really enjoyable. And yeah, that's why I like coming back.
Brilliant.
I really like the give and take of being able to collaborate and help each other. I enjoy being able to share my experience with the other apprentices, and if there's areas that I need a bit more help, being able to hear from the experience of more senior engineers. So that just the environment and the relationships that you build with other people is something that's just really enjoyable.
So good. Olivia, Louisa, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to chat with you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to Workplus. If today's story gave you fresh perspective or helped you rethink what's possible, leave us a review on your favourite podcast platform or hit like and subscribe. It really does make a big difference. For more stories, resources, and tools to help guide the next generation, visit workplus.app. Until next time.